भय होता है, आतंक फैला हुआ है। इससे बचने का एक सरल उपाय
Empowered Group on COVID-19 says timely lockdown effectively put a brake on the speed of growth of cases and number of deaths. According to a model, lockdown saved up to 2 lakh lives and averts 70 lakh cases. India's recovery rate rises to over 40%. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says government will keep all options on policy response open for the next 10 months to deal with any eventuality. In an exclusive interview, FM says self-reliance does not mean we are going to be inward-looking. Railways modifies terms and conditions on 15 pairs of special trains running since 12th May. Advance reservation period increased to 30 days from the existing 7 days. More than 31 lakh passengers taken back home by over 2,300 Shramik trains by Thursday night. Active COVID-19 cases in India stand at 66,330 with 3,583 fatalities and 48,533 recoveries. Global cases crossed 52 lakhs with over 3.3 lakh deaths and more than 20 lakh recoveries. And Jammu and Kashmir government to notify over 10,000 posts for accelerated recruitment for domiciles. Notification is for domiciles at all levels including doctors, vets, panchayat account assistants and class 4 vacancies. Well, welcome to English News. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. The Empowered Group on COVID-19 chairman Dr. V.K. Paul during a media briefing in New Delhi has said that the timely lockdown effectively put a brake on the speed of growth of cases and the number of deaths. He said that according to a model, the lockdown has saved up to 2 lakh lives and averted 70 lakh cases. Large number of COVID deaths have been avoided due to this particular lockdown. Nearly 14 to 29 lakh cases have been avoided due to lockdown, and he stressed on the containment measures, social distancing having helped control the increase in the number of positive cases. The speed of transmission has also been reduced due to the lockdown measures. The COVID outbreak has now been isolated to limited places in the country. 70% active cases stand only in 10 states, while 80% COVID deaths took place in just 5 states. Finance Ministry is making all efforts to provide an economic response to the coronavirus pandemic and the national lockdown. In an exclusive conversation with DD India, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman hailed Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decision, according to which farmers can sell their produce anywhere and get the price they want. This will ensure barrier-free interstate trade. She also said that to survive the current situation, firms need to be Atmanirbhar, and thus the government will keep its options open for the next 10 months.
I see it as lockdown being in place even now. The economy and its restart, we can give all these packages, but it still means workers have to get back to work. Are they all going to be migrant, or are they going to be local workers substituting for the migrant workers? And when the workers come back, how is it that the companies are going to readjust with them? So there are lots of questions of adjustment, of restarting. So we'll have to wait for it. I will keep all my options open so that the next 10 months goes with a reassurance that the government is there ready to help.
The Finance Minister also said that to be a self-reliant India, we need to toughen against competition. She added that this does not mean that we should isolate ourselves, rather only decongest sectors to boost growth and employment opportunities.
We have to be self-reliant. Many of what we now import should be possibly made within the country. But that doesn't mean that we are saying we are going to be inward looking. That doesn't mean that we say we don't want anything at all from outside. We'll still have to import those intermediary goods which help us produce both for the country itself and also for exports. So, and also we still have to export.
In order to help passengers, the Indian Railways has modified certain terms and conditions in the 15 pairs of special trains that are running from May 12th. The advance reservation period, that's ARP, of these trains will be increased from 7 days to 30 days. There shall be no Tatkal booking in these trains. RAC waiting list tickets will be issued in these trains as per the instructions that are applicable. However, waitlisted passengers will not be allowed to board these trains. The first chart shall be prepared 4 hours prior to the scheduled departure, and the second chart shall be prepared at least 2 hours prior to departure. Current booking shall be permitted in between the first and second chart. Booking of tickets shall be permissible through computerized PRS counters, including post office, Yatri tickets, Suvidha Kendra licensees, etc., as well as through online booking, including authorized agents of Indian Railways, that's the IRCTC, and the common service centers. The changes will be implemented for trains from booking date May 24th onwards and for trains from May 31st onwards. Indian Railways has decided to run few of the Shramik trains on diverted routes. It also informed that some trains are diverted for Bihar via Rourkela on Friday to clear congestion. In Nagaland's Dimapur, around 1,325 stranded citizens returned through a special Shramik train from Chennai on Friday evening. The train was scheduled to arrive in the noon, but it was delayed by 5 hours due to the super cyclone. After completion of the formalities, the returnees were ferried to a quarantine center in different districts of the state by the Nagaland state transport buses. Passengers were also screened at the station. More than 1,000 stranded Indians will return from Gulf countries through 7 special aircrafts today under the second phase of Vande Bharat mission. 4 out of the 7 Vande Bharat flights will be from the UAE and 3 flights from Oman. 1 flight is scheduled from Abu Dhabi to Kannur in Kerala. Dubai has 3 flights scheduled, 1 each to Kozhikode in Kerala, Bangalore and Thiruvananthapuram. The Basket Bodh Gaya flight will be the first flight from the Gulf to Bihar. It is expected to bring back around 150 stranded passengers. Priority on all the flights are being given to distressed blue-collared workers, medical emergency cases, pregnant women, stranded tourists and elderly people. Only asymptomatic passengers are being allowed to board the flight. Yesterday, nearly 1,200 people from the Gulf countries were repatriated to India under the Vande Bharat mission. Well, let's now take a look at the total number of confirmed cases in India when it comes to COVID-19. The total number of confirmed cases or the active cases that stand at this point of time are 69,597. Those recovered and discharged are 51,783, while the total number of deaths that have been reported are 3,720. These are the numbers that were updated this morning. The states that have been affected or severely affected are Maharashtra continues to be the epicenter of this particular crisis. Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Delhi have contributed for more than 50% of the total cases in the country. The centre has also informed on Friday that the country's recovery rate has improved to 40.98%, with 3,234 patients having cured in the last 24 hours. Well, the Maharashtra government has announced taking over 80% of the beds in private hospitals and nursing homes across the state for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. The government has also capped charges for treatment for COVID-19 and other illness at the facilities. Let's take a look.
Cases have been reported from across the state, and that's the reason why the government has taken number of steps in last few days. Like 80% of beds have been reserved in from private hospitals to treat COVID-19 patients. The government has also imposed some restrictions on the cost, on the price charges by the private hospitals while treating COVID-19 patients. Maharashtra police, especially Mumbai police, have also written a letter to the BMC asking to provide dedicated ambulances to the policemen, because as of now there are 18 deaths. There are 18 deaths have been reported in the Maharashtra police, out of which 14 deaths have been reported. 14 deaths of policemen have been reported in Mumbai alone. However, the numbers of deaths are not very increasing. Are not in fact increasing. The number of deaths, the ratio has been come down, but the situation of COVID positive cases are still on the rise. This is Yogesh Kumar Sita reporting for DD India from Maharashtra.
Well, the Assam state government has adopted ruthless quarantine policy as the state has witnessed a sudden spike in the number of COVID-19 cases due to the inflow of passengers from outside Assam since the 4th of May. The violators of these norms are to be charged with criminal cases, which was announced recently by the state government.
Sudden spike in the COVID-19 cases here in Assam, the state government has decided to go for ruthless quarantine policy. We have seen that during the last few days the number is increasing at a very faster rate in the state, and reports are mostly coming from the quarantine centers, which means that inflow of passengers from various other parts of the country has led to the rise in the numbers. We have reports that 37,000 people from various other parts of the country have entered Assam since 4th of May, from the day when the interstate movement was allowed as part of relaxation by center, and 12 lakh people more are still waiting to enter the state. And in view of that only, to deal with the scenario in the days to come, the state government has decided to adopt this ruthless quarantine policy, under which nobody will be spared if the quarantine norms is violated, whether it is in institutional quarantine or whether it is in home quarantine. Nobody will be spared, and the violators will be charged with criminal cases. This is Kamal Pura with my friend Pavismita Bhuya from Guwahati for DD India.
Well, masks are now our first line of defense in this pandemic, and to make them presentable, an art teacher is painting them to the best of her creativity after stitching them on a sewing machine. But this is not all. She is also teaching this art to her students during the online classes and are also distributing this beautiful mask to the needy for free. Vishal Baristo brings you this colorful report from Jaipur.
Masks are now part of our lives. So how about fashionable painted masks? Now that's a new idea, and I have with me Mrs. Kamna Kaul. Let's talk to her and find out. People are stitching masks, but you are stitching and painting. How did you get this idea?
I was stitching masks. All of a sudden I decided why not to paint them. So I started painting them. It came out so well, and it was a very fast painting work also. So I started doing it, and it is looking very nice and something new.
Yeah, it's certainly new. So how many have you stitched, and what do you do with them?
I've made more than 200, but I give to only those people who need them.
Now it's a very nice and creative art. So you said that you are a teacher as well. So do you also teach your students how to paint masks? Because that's a very good, especially for vacations.
Yes, I'm teaching in Maharaja Savaiman Singh, and there I'm taking Zoom classes with the children from 4 to 9. There I've taught them how to make a mask, but not with the stitching. It is difficult for them to use a sewing machine. They have taught them no sew mask, and they're painting, and they have come out very well, and they're so happy to give to the people also.
Yes, so happy, and so am I, because she has also given me this mask which matches with my shirt. So what an idea, and it is a lesson for us also. So when you are locked down and feeling bored, follow your passion and do something good for the society. Vishal Baristo for DD India, Jaipur.
Well, the state of Uttarakhand is known for its picturesque beauty. The state's first tulip garden, prepared by the Department of Horticulture, has been set up in the Pithoragarh district. Spread over an area of 1,000 square meters, this garden will play a vital role in promoting tourism along with catering to the needs of the people. Take a look at this report. With snow-covered Himalayas in the backdrop, thousands of tulips blossom in the garden of Mostamanu and Pashupatinath temples in Pithoragarh. Spread over an area of 1,000 square meters, 25,000 tulip bulbs were planted by this garden department, including around 9 varieties of tulips. The first tulip garden of the state has become a big center of attraction, but due to the lockdown, tourists are not able to enjoy its beauty. Locals are, however, enjoying the beautiful sight.
जो ट्यूलिप गार्डन सरकार ने अभी यहाँ बनाया है वो बहुत ही बढ़िया सरकार का एक प्रयास है पर्यटन को बढ़ावा देने के लिए जो बनाया गया है। इससे कहीं ना कहीं पर्यटन को भी बढ़ावा मिलेगा और युवाओं को भी रोजगार मिलेगा। लेकिन अगर सरकार इसको लगातार अगर जारी रखे इसको तो पिथौरागढ़ का जो पर्यटन है वो भी देश और दुनिया के मानचित्र में आएगा।
The horticulture department is also happy with the success of the tulip garden set up for the first time in this area. Considering the success of the garden, the state government is now planning to expand the area of the garden to that of 50 hectares. If this plan hits the ground, it will be Asia's largest tulip garden.
ट्यूलिप गार्डन स्थापित किया गया वो दोनों जगह लगभग 1000 वर्ग मीटर में लगाया गया। इसमें जो बल्बों की संख्या है वो लगभग 25,000 रही है और इसमें 9 प्रजाति रोपित की गई। इसमें क्वीन ऑफ नाइट जो प्रजाति है वो सबसे लंबे समय तक फूल देखा गया। और फ्लावरिंग की जब बात करें तो ये मार्च के पहले वीक से शुरू हुआ। भविष्य में इसकी प्लानिंग की जा रही है और करीब चंडाक के पास में फॉरेस्ट लैंड है वो हैंडओवर पर्यटन विभाग कर रहा है, उसमें प्लान है।
All the tourists are not able to enjoy the scenic beauty of the garden, but once things normalize, this tulip garden will surely become a tourist hotspot of the state. This initiative of the horticulture department is commendable as it will create numerous employment opportunities for the locals. Bureau Report, DD News, Delhi. Well, Jammu and Kashmir government will notify over 10,000 posts for accelerated recruitment for domiciles. The notification is for accelerated recruitment for domiciles at all levels, including doctors, vets, panchayat account assistants and class 4 vacancies. LG GC Murmu on Friday reviewed the progress on accelerated recruitments and called for transparency and simplification of recruitment process. Important feature of recruitment would be fair representation to widows, destitutes, divorced women, single mothers and those with no family member in government job in class 4 vacancies. Daily wages or contractual etc. will be given weightage subject to the length of service. Domicile certificate would be required only after the candidate gets selected to a particular post. Self-attested affidavit has to be submitted at the time of application, which will be verified by the respective SDMs for selection and before joining. Well, moving to world stories, Russian President Vladimir Putin has asked the officials to ramp up testing for the new COVID-19 as he asserts that the outbreak was stabilizing. Moscow began mass testing residents for virus antibodies this week. Meanwhile, the country's Vnukovo airport, which received the US shipment of artificial lung ventilators on Thursday, continued its operation during COVID-19 lockdown in the capital, with restaurants closed and lobbies almost empty. The medical center at the airport carried out regular checks for COVID-19 following the list of checks provided by the airlines. Russia's 8,894 new COVID-19 infections took the nationwide toll to 3,26,448 infections. Overall, Russia has reported 3,249 COVID-19 related deaths. Shifting to Italy, where the COVID-19 cases remain below 1,000 for a 10th day on Friday, the health authorities said that the epidemic curve is consistently descending in all Italian regions, including Lombardy, the worst hit district. Civil protection authorities reported 652 cases on Friday, compared with 642 a day earlier, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 228,658 infections. Daily fatalities are also on the decreasing trend, with a total of 32,616 deaths being reported in Italy. On to France, the government plans to ease out lockdown restrictions from 25th of May in Madrid and Barcelona. Authorities plan to reopen restaurants with gatherings of up to 10 people. All establishments under phase 1 will be allowed to reopen on pavements and terraces with a half capacity of workers. However, gatherings of only 10 people will be allowed to meet, and groups of up to 10 people will be allowed to meet too. Spain has registered a steady fall in new deaths per day. However, more than 28,000 COVID-related deaths and over 234,000 positive cases have been reported in the European country till now. On to neighbours France. For the first time since the outbreak of the COVID-19, French health authorities did not report the daily additional deaths linked to the infection. Adding in a statement published yesterday, those figures will be updated on Monday, that's May 25th. As on Thursday, the country's fatality toll stood at 28,215, the fourth highest in the world behind the United States, Britain and Italy, while the total confirmed cases are over 1,82,000. Meanwhile, France will soon allow resumption of religious gatherings after a 2-month hiatus, but with conditions. Worshippers will have to wear face masks, maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between worshippers, and regular hand washing has to be followed. Europe's car industry has been put on alert for more job losses as the French minister warned that Renault could disappear if it didn't get the help soon, while Nissan was considering 20,000 layoffs, with many in Europe. Both the companies are due to announce a strategy update next Wednesday. Meanwhile, people enjoyed watching movie outdoors as cinemas, theatres and restaurants still remain closed. But open-air theatres have begun working and people are taking full advantage of the open-air theatres, enjoying the movies sitting in their cars. However, after certain easing of lockdown restrictions, certain restaurants were allowed to open with special arrangements. Moving to South America and Brazil in particular, confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Brazil have surpassed that of Russia to become the second highest in the world after United States of America. Brazil now has 330,890 confirmed cases of the disease, with a total of 21,048 deaths being reported. Over 135,000 people have recovered in the country so far. Sao Paulo remains the epicenter of the pandemic in Brazil, with more than 5,500 deaths. Rio de Janeiro is also badly hit, with 3,000 plus deaths being reported. Meanwhile, in the wake of the increased cases of the disease in the continent, WHO has said that South America has become the new epicenter for the disease. Well, COVID-19 is disrupting life-saving immunization services around the world, putting millions of children in the rich and poor countries alike at risk of diseases like diphtheria, measles and polio. This stark warning comes from the WHO, UNICEF and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Routine immunization services is substantially hindered in at least 68 countries and is likely to affect approximately 80 million children under the age of 1 living in these countries. In March 2020, WHO recommended temporary suspension of preventive campaigns while assessing risk and effective measures for reducing COVID-19 transmission. World Health Organization has now issued guidance to help countries to determine how and when to resume mass campaigns. The new guidance recommends countries make specific risk assessments based on local dynamics of COVID-19 transmission, health system capacities, public health benefit of conducting preventive and outbreak response vaccination campaigns. WHO and other groups have called for joint efforts to safely deliver routine immunization and proceed with vaccination campaign against the deadly vaccine preventable diseases. WHO Director General Tedros says that immunization is one of the most powerful and fundamental disease prevention tools in the history of public health. He has also urged the donors to fully fund the Global Vaccine Summit on June 4th to sustain and accelerate this life-saving work in some of the most vulnerable countries. Maldives has said it cannot support any action within the Organization of Islamic Cooperation that singles out or targets India. This was stated by Maldives' permanent representative to United Nations Ambassador Tilmiza Hussain in a recently organized virtual meeting of OIC ambassadors to the UN, where the issue of growing Islamophobia in South Asia was discussed. The Maldives ambassador stated that singling out India, the largest democracy in the world and a multicultural society and home to over 200 million Muslims, would be factually incorrect. He said it would be detrimental to the religious harmony in the South Asian region, as Islam has existed in India for centuries and it is the second largest religion in India with 14.2% of the country's population following it. The ambassador said Maldives stands firmly against Islamophobia, xenophobia or any form of violence to promote political or any other agenda, but targeting a specific country will be like sidestepping the real issue. The issue was raised by Pakistan ambassador to the United Nations. Well, that's all we have time for, but let's take a quick recap of the headlines. Empowered Group on COVID-19 says timely lockdown effectively put a brake on the speed of growth of cases and number of deaths. According to a model lockdown, saved up to 2 lakh lives and averts 70 lakh cases. India's recovery rate rises to over 40%. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says government will keep all options on policy response open for the next 10 months to deal with any eventuality. In an exclusive interview, FM says self-reliance does not mean we are going to be inward-looking. Railways modifies terms and conditions on 15 pairs of special trains running since May 12th. Advance reservation period increased to 30 days from the existing 7 days. More than 31 lakh passengers taken back home by over 2,300 Shramik trains by Thursday night. Active COVID-19 cases in India stands at 69,597 and 3,720 fatalities and 51,783 recoveries. Global cases cross 52 lakhs with over 3.3 lakh deaths and more than 20 lakh recoveries. Outbreak worsens in Brazil as it becomes the second most affected country after USA. And Jammu and Kashmir government to notify over 10,000 posts for accelerated recruitment for domiciles. Notification is for domiciles at all levels including doctors, vets, Panchayat account assistants and class 4 vacancies. Well, that's all we have time for. Remember to stay safe, stay indoors and be positive. Thanks for now. Bye-bye. Take care.